Ladies and gentlemen, the trendiest way to enter the spirit world, the near-death experience.
When my head hit the curb, boom, I was out of my body. Soul separated.
And I was being sucked into this brilliant tunnel of warm, loving light. I felt like
bathed in the light. It was an overwhelming sense of a cleansing.
I really was not in the hospital anymore. And I found myself way out in space.
I saw every single person that I had ever had any contact with.
Only my body was in the hospital room. I was off in the Garden of Eden in heaven.
Stories like these, called near-death experiences, or NDEs, have become cliche. Proponents of life after death cite these accounts as proof of whatever their particular myth believes. It's a powerful image, a tunnel of light that leads to the other side. But this tunnel is a dead end.
It's a wrap.
Near-death experiences are generated by brain function, and they don't prove that there's an afterlife. Barry Beierstein, psychology professor, Simon Fraser University. Neuroscientists are thoroughly convinced that near-death experiences are things that happen when normal brain function is disrupted and the brain is shutting down.
When blood flow is cut off, lack of oxygen sends the brain into a kind of final curtain dementia, a mind trip, courtesy Mother Nature.
These are complex hallucinations. They're taking place in the theater of one's own mind.
Here we go. During centrifuge tests, when pilots are spun around in this contraption, getting their guts compacted at 9 Gs, their blood drains from their head to their lower extremities. As a result, many black out. Guess what they say happens when they're unconscious.
Oh, shoot, I forgot what I was doing. Man, I was dreaming and everything.
We inadvertently walked into this near-death experience arena while we were trying to protect combat fighter pilots. I'm Dr. James E. Winnery, Chief Aeromedical Scientist, Naval Air Warfare Center.
In the 1980s and 90s, Dr. Winnery tortured over 1,200 pilots in the centrifuge. He kept close track of their reactions. When they came to, nearly 18% of them described, well, near-death experiences.
I was out, and what I pictured was again, very vivid in color of looking down at the ground from several thousand foot.
Loss of consciousness would occur in our pilots as we're doing acceleration experiments, and they frequently had gray out, tunnel vision, blackout, and dreams that were associated with that loss of consciousness episode.
Oh, shit. Oh. 3, 2, 1.
Curious, Dr. Winnery put himself through the centrifuge test. In this footage, he also blacks out. And he often experienced his own NDE.
I've had maybe 20, 30 of them. The one I remember most was I was walking down a hall toward a doorway that was lit, but I was also up behind myself walking down the hall.
Damn, that story sounds familiar. You know, it seems like a brain under severe stress from centrifuge testing or fighting for life at death's door goes from real trauma to peaceful fantasy.
That may well be part of how the brain handles that threatening situation.
So near-death experiences have a real-life explanation. Cut off the blood to the brain, and nearly 18% of us have an NDE. Kind of makes the thought of dying, or better yet, pulling 9 Gs, well, kind of exciting. What does the guru of near-death experiences have to say now? Watch Dr. Moody try to slip out of this one.
In a field like the paranormal, where the problems are conceptual and not yet scientific, you make a tremendous mistake in deciding that you're going to be either a believer or a disbeliever. And really, the believers and the disbelievers, in my opinion, are the same group.
No, they're not! The believers are either people who have had confusing experiences or folks out to make a buck. The disbelievers are scientists or professors, like this man.
Every night I talk to dead people and I fly through space, and I call it dreaming. Christoph Koch, professor of cognitive and behavioral biology at Caltech. And in dreams every night we all go to sleep, and very often I will meet and talk with people who are dead. I will fly through space. I will do things that I could never do in real life. Near-death experience is just another form of very vivid dreams. The number of people who have near-death experience is going up dramatically as medical technology will get better. In fact, I predict that over the next 20 years we'll have more people who have these experiences because we're getting better at pulling people back from the brink of death.
And what about those compelling stories we heard earlier? What do those people think of the scientific explanation?
First off, I don't get angry, because I would have been a skeptic before it happened to me also.
I understand people not believing me because it hasn't happened to them.
We welcome people who are skeptical and people who just seek information.
And it's okay for the other people to be skeptical. It's all right for them. In their own time, they may learn what we know.
All I can tell you is about my personal experiences, because I'm not a scientist, I'm a hairdresser. I can make you look good, but I don't know how to give you answers.
Okay, whatever these folks believe happened to them, at least they're not out for a buck. That's more than we can say for some other people.
I'm Jan Price, and I've been to the other side of death.